I was raised as an entrepreneur though, so that's where sometimes I can't relate to somebody that says, I want to go work for myself. I was raised as an entrepreneur because my father's been an entrepreneur forever, and I think he's kind of like me. No one else would employ us for more than 3 months. We'd be fired pretty quick. We're all over the place with stuff. We're very ADD, I would say. But my father succeeded and failed so many times. I mean, I remember times where we were eating fried bologna, and my father would make it fun, like, this is dinner tonight, and as a kid. So I watched him succeed and fail so many times that I wasn't afraid of failure anymore. And I think that was a big thing, because it's just like, hey, dive into something new. Spend your last, few $1,000s you have in a savings account trying to make something work, because if you can't figure it out, you're going to have another opportunity kind of come about. And he did so many businesses. He's got a couple stable businesses now, a distribution business and some corporate real estate that he's pretty successful with. Nothing huge, kind of lifestyle businesses, I would say, but the successes and the failures. He went all the way from being so wealthy that my mother could quit work to telling my mom she had to go back to work because he was broke. So those things kept happening ever since I could recognize them happening. I would say somewhere around maybe 5th grade or something. And that just kind of wore on me to kind of know that I can handle it. I'll get out there and try, and maybe I'll fail, but just try again.
So it's one thing to not be scared, right? And I feel like you and I kind of have similar backgrounds in the sense that my dad kind of succeeded and failed, and overall, net positive, and I learned a ton just from observing that. But there's a big difference between taking action and doing something and just not being scared, right? So how did you take action? Like, what do you think triggered you taking action on your ambition?
I've started other little small businesses. I wouldn't say that they're incredibly serious, but the hobby businesses that I run now were out of just excitement and passion for something. I run a Buell motorcycle community with over 13,000 members, and I had a Buell motorcycle for a while until my wife determined that it wasn't safe for me to participate in that anymore. But I still managed the community, and it was something I was so excited about that I built the Buell motorcycle community out of just a passion for something, because it was 2 years of constant effort from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. before I made the first dollar off of even ad revenue from that business. So it had to be fun.
Wait, say that one more time.
Okay.
How long till you took your first dollar off of
2
that?
2 years. And there's no way that even what I'm making off of it now, I make on good months, I'll make $6,000 a month. On a bad month, I'll make $1,500 a month. That's a lot of money now. But if you look at the amount of hours and time that I invested in it, I might not even say today that it was worth that time unless I enjoyed what I was doing. I had to have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that was one of the things that was really fun about working at Slingshot was the passion, and not just you as a co-founder, but the other 2 co-founders. So obviously you started Buell on your own. Slingshot was with 2 other co-founders, a 3-founder team. What made you decide to go into business with other people instead of continuing to kind of do these other things on your own?
Yeah, so I'll kind of transition, I guess, from the previous question. What really got Slingshot started was I was being successful with search engine optimization with my father's distribution business. So when I graduated from college, I couldn't find a job anywhere else. I mean, no one would hire me, so I had to go work for the father, which was something I didn't quite want to do, but it was my only option. I went to work for my father, ended up having a lot of success with SEO to the point where his contacts couldn't deny it. I mean, it was just obvious that his business was growing, and he kept showing off what we were doing. So finally one person came up to me and said, Jeremy, I'm telling you, if you can do this for my business, you have the job, and you haven't told me how much it's going to cost. Do you know what that means? And I was kind of I had to think about it for a couple days, but I kind of came back and said, okay, let's just see what this is all about. So I wrote a 1-page Word document proposal for what I thought was a whole bunch of money at the time, $6,400. And I handed it over to this guy and said, hey, I'll do this for you for $6,400, which was crazy. But I said, I'll do this for you for $6,400. He had a big cheesy grin on his face, and he's like, you got the job. So I kind of told my father, hey, I'm going to go do this now, if that's okay. And he was excited, because we argued all the time anyway. So he's like, yeah, get the hell out of here, go do something. But what I realized almost immediately was I had a serious budget and other people helping me at my father's business. I don't have all the skill sets necessary to completely do this by myself. So I need some help. So the first thing I tried to do is one of my partners, Aaron, I paid him $20 an hour to come help me out. And $20 an hour doesn't seem like a lot, 1 hour at a time, but after a while you're like, gosh, this gets expensive and I don't know if I can handle this. So I knew that I didn't have a lot of money at $10,000 and that was going to go quick, that I had saved up and working for a few years. And I needed a partner, I needed partners to help me do what I needed to do. It's kind of like the last guy that was up here talking about Leap. You know, he's got a guy that's doing development, that's hungry and says, I'm going to make development work. So I needed somebody with the other skill sets that I was lacking in because I couldn't hire those people. And instead of kind of from a sense of arrogance saying, hey, I'm going to give you 10% of my company, give you 10% of my company, I wanted us all to be equally motivated. So we reformed the business as an equal three-way partnership so that we were all equally motivated to do it. And I felt like that was completely necessary. I'd probably be back working for my father today if I didn't have those partners. I'm confident of that.
And so you self-funded it, or how did you get that business going with 3 full-time people on it?
I mean, so the answer is kind of the same. So I had that first $6,400 job, and I had $10,000 in cash, and then I had partners, so I didn't have to pay employees to do it. We all ate beans for a while. I mean, I think it was 8 months into working together that we first started taking $10 an hour paychecks on a regular basis. So there was a lot of work. I mean, Kevin, I remember he moved back in with his parents after having a 6-figure job to start this company with me. And it was kind of funny because he just never wanted to leave the parents' house. He's like, oh, rent free, whatever, I'm good here. So even when we started to succeed and he wanted to kind of realize some of the success, he bought a used Infiniti G35. It was like a 2005, nice looking car. He pulls that into his parents' driveway when he comes home one day and they're like, no, you're not going to drive an Infiniti, park it in my driveway, and still live here. Time to get the hell out. So yeah, just a lot of eating beans and stuff like that. So we just had to cash flow from day one. And Kevin, my partner, that was one of the things. He graduated finance and accounting, so he knew, how we had to conserve our cash and how we had to be able to run off of that.
So we're almost like building up the suspense here, right? Because right now in the conversation, you guys are eating beans, and we all know that you're an Inc. 500 company now, making millions of dollars. Close that gap for us. How did you get to that first level of success? What was that like pivotal moment? Yeah.